Good morning, students. I hope you all have watched the previous videos of this chapter. Now let us move further and study about region and empire. Large states like those of the Cholas, Tughlaqs or Mughals took hold of many regions. A Sanskrit Prasishti praised Delhi Sultan Ghiyasuddin Balban for his rule on a vast empire. Historians regard these as extended claims of conquests. At the same time, they try to understand why rulers kept claiming to have control over different parts of the subcontinent. By 700, many regions already possessed distinct geographical dimensions and their own language and cultural characteristics. They were also associated with specific ruling dynasties. There was considerable conflict between these states. Occasionally, dynasties like the Cholas, Khaljis, Tughlaqs, and Mughals were able to build an empire that was pan-regional, which means extending diverse regions. When the Mughal Empire declined in the 18th century, it led to the re-emergence of regional states. But years of imperial pan-regional rule had altered the character of the regions. Across most of the subcontinent, the regions were left with the legacies of the big and small states that had ruled over them. This was apparent in the emergence of many distinct and shared traditions in the realms of governance, the management of the economy, allied cultures, and language. Through the 1,000 years between 700 and 1750, the character of the different regions did not grow in isolation. These regions felt the impact of larger pan-regional forces of integration without ever quite losing their distinctiveness. The 1,000 years of history that we are exploring witnessed major developments in religious traditions. People's belief in the divine was sometimes deeply personal, but more usually it was collective. Collective belief in supernatural agency, religion was often closely connected with the social and economic organization of local communities. As the social worlds of these groups altered, so too did their beliefs. It was during this period that important changes occurred in what we can call Hinduism today. These included the worship of new deities, the construction of temples by royalty, and the growing importance of Brahmins, the priests, as dominant groups in society. Their knowledge of Sanskrit texts earned the Brahmins a lot of respect in society. Their dominant position was consolidated by the support of their patrons, new rulers searching for prestige. Now, you all must be thinking, what is patron? It is an influential, wealthy individual who supports another person. One of the major developments of this period was the emergence of the idea of bhakti, of a loving personal deity that devotees could reach without the aid of priests or elaborate rituals. This was also the period when new religions appeared in the subcontinent. Merchants and migrants first brought the teachings of the Holy Quran to India in the 7th century. Muslims regard the Quran as their holy book and accept their sovereignty of the one God, Allah, whose love, mercy, and bounty embrace all those who believe in Him without regard to social background. Many rulers were patrons of Islam and the ulama or learned theologians and jurists. And like Hinduism, Islam was interpreted in a variety of ways by its followers. There were the Shia Muslims who believed that the Prophet Muhammad's son-in-law Ali was the legitimate leader of the Muslim community, and the Sunni Muslims who accepted the authority of the early leaders, Khalifas of the community, and the succeeding Khalifas. There were other important differences between the various schools of law and in theology and mystic traditions. Historians do not see time just as a passing of hours, days, or years, as a clock or a calendar. Time also reflects changes in social and economic organization, in the persistence and transformation of ideas and beliefs. The study of time is made somewhat easier by dividing the past into large segments, periods that possess shared characteristics. In the middle of the 19th century, British historians divided the history of India into three periods: Hindu, Muslim, and British. This division was based on the idea that the religion of rulers was the only important historical change and that were no other significant developments in the economy, society, or culture. Such a division also ignored the rich diversity of the subcontinent. Few historians follow this periodization today. Most look to economic and social factors to characterize the major elements of different moments of the past. The histories you read last year included a wide range of early societies: hunter gatherers, early farmers, people living in towns and villages, and early empires and kingdoms. The histories you will be studying this year are often described as medieval.